This is Sean O'Malley, and you're watching Full-Time MMA. Don't be a bagel biting, bagel bitch boy, bagel bitch back.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, because you know what time it is. It's full time
MMA.
BJPin.com recently sat down with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and there's multiple things they talked about. Of course, we've got UFC 228 coming up on September the 8th, I believe, this Saturday, and it's going to be headlined by Tyron Woodley versus Darren Till. Both of those guys are common opponents of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, who's one of the top welterweights in the world, who's fought both of them and fought really close fights with both of them. Some people would argue Stephen Wonderboy Thompson beat Tyron Woodley and Darren Till, to be honest. And with that being said, it would be great to hear what Stephen Thompson has to say about that fight. But not only that fight, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's looking at returning sometime soon, maybe at the beginning of 2019, you know, the new ESPN deal and stuff like that. There's been rumors that Stephen Thompson might be taking on Robbie Lawler in early 2019. But if not Robbie Lawler, Stephen Thompson has 4 potential opponents in mind. We're going to talk about those. We've actually got quite a few Stephen Thompson things to talk about right here. It's about 5 different articles, but we're going to break it into one. So with that being said, or condense it into one. Stephen Thompson has 4 potential opponents in mind for his next fight. This is what he had to say in a recent interview with BJPin.com. He said there's some tough dudes out there at welterweight. Colby Covington, Rafael Dos Anjos, Kamaru Usman, and obviously Robbie Lawler come to mind right off the top. There's a lot of tough dudes in the division, and that's why I'm in this sport, man. I want to face off with the best fighters in the world. I think 20 years from now, and I'll be able to tell my kids and my grandkids that at one point I faced the best fighters in the world, and that's really cool to think about. I'm very fortunate. Now, with that being said, he has already proven it, of course. He's fought 2 close fights with Tyron Woodley, a close fight with the top contender Darren Till, and so with that being said, as far as a fight with Robbie Lawler, he said, I'm definitely up for it. Unfortunately, at this time, there's just nothing set in stone when it comes to me fighting Robbie. It's been mentioned by the UFC, but that's about it. I don't even know if Robbie would be ready by January, so at this time, I don't know who I'll be facing next. It could really be anybody at this point. So, man, there's a lot of potential matchups, but you guys know, some of you do if you've been keeping up with the sport for the last at least few years. Before Tyron Woodley even became the champion, when it was still Robbie Lawler, Stephen Thompson was close to fighting Robbie. It was out of really Wonderboy and Tyron Woodley as to who could really get that title shot. It went to Tyron Woodley, but I mean, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, he was, after his fight at that time, he was like, yo, I would like to fight Robbie. Whenever he was talking about the potential Woodley versus Lawler fight, Wonderboy was like, yeah, I'd like to fight Robbie, man. And that's kind of why Tyron Woodley, after he knocked out Robbie Lawler, was like, no, you wanted to fight Robbie, remember? Wonderboy, you wanted to fight Robbie. Don't want to fight me now that I'm the champ. And so he kind of gave him a little shit, but he still, of course, ended up having to fight Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. But Wonderboy's been, you know, wanting to fight Robbie for quite some time. And as far as the Robbie Lawler fight, it has been rumored. There was a report that, you know, he would be fighting on January 18th at the UFC's first ever ESPN fight card. You know, that would be the same card as Paige Van Zandt versus Rachel Ostovich as well. Those fights were both rumored for that card, but both Stephen Thompson and Paige Van Zandt have came out and refuted those rumors. Now, it could just be that they got out a little too early. You know, the UFC wasn't ready to announce those fights, and so they have to pull back a little bit. But I do believe that they might happen. We saw that recently, actually, with Tai Tuivasa and Junior Dos Santos. It was announced earlier. Tai Tuivasa posted on Instagram the poster, him versus JDS, and it was later refuted. Like, no, that's not happening. Chill, that's not booked yet. And they started talking about Tuivasa versus Tybura. But now we just saw, like last week, it's actually gonna be like Tuivasa originally posted. It's gonna be Tuivasa versus Junior Dos Santos. So these fights very well could come to fruition, but they're just not ready to make it official. But as far as the potential fight with Robbie Lawler, Wonderboy talked about it a little more and said, I mean, it's no secret. I've wanted to fight Robbie Lawler for the longest time. I'm a big fan of his, and I have been since the Strikeforce days. He's a brutal guy in terms of his fighting style. He loves to stand and trade, so I think it would make for a great fight. Now, everyone loves Wonderboy Thompson. Me too. We're all big fans. Wonderboy. Go check out UFC Yankovic before I fuck it up. You guys get the point, though. But what I will say is, of all the potential matchups for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson you look at, I mean, aside from RDA, I would like to see Wonderboy versus RDA. This is one of the better matchups, not just for Wonderboy, but for us fans. This would be a great fight. Lawler versus Wonderboy. I was excited about this fight whenever it almost happened before Tyron Woodley became the champion and fucked things up. No, but seriously, Wonderboy versus Robbie Lawler, ruthless Robbie Lawler. Maybe a tough style matchup for Robbie Lawler because, of course, he likes to stand and trade and strike with guys and really bring the fight to you. And Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is a karate master, counter-striking expert. But for us fans, that would be a potential. I mean, it has the potential to be a really fun fight. We might get to see the old Wonderboy. He might fuck around and get a finish in this fight because it's, you know, Robbie Lawler's not gonna fucking make it a boring fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, in order to beat Wonderboy, you've got to make it a boring fight. You've got to play chess, kind of like we saw Tyron Woodley do, and then Darren Till do afterward. You know, we expected Darren Till to kind of come in and try and trade with Wonderboy, put the pressure on him, but instead he was like, you know, once he got in the fight, he thought about it, like, nah, I think I want to win this fight. You know what I'm saying? So it was more of a boring fight, and that can happen in a Wonderboy fight if you don't have an opponent that's willing to kind of play his game. But I actually think ruthless Robbie Lawler would be willing to do that. I don't think he would just want to sit around for fucking 25 minutes, you know, just across the octagon making Wonderboy come forward. But either way, man, with that being said, it's a potential fight that could happen. And Wonderboy continues, said, fans always come up and ask me, hey, when are you fighting Robbie? And they tell me how awesome they think that fight would be. So yeah, I'm definitely up for it. Unfortunately, at this time, there's just nothing set in stone when it comes to me fighting Robbie. Of course, he's, as we read earlier, he said it's been mentioned by the UFC, but that's about it. I don't even think Robbie would be ready by January. So at this time, I don't really know who I'll be facing next. It could be anybody. Now, as far as Robbie Lawler being ready by January, I don't know. I haven't heard about a Robbie Lawler injury. His most recent fight actually was that fight against Rafael Dos Anjos. It was a war. You know, he did take a lot of damage in that fight, but he wasn't knocked out or anything crazy. But so with that being said, Robbie Lawler, I could see him being ready by January. That's still another, you know, 3 months away, 4 months away, and he honestly hasn't fought in a while. So I think he would be ready by January. But we'll see what happens. I actually think the fight might come to fruition. But yeah, man, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson just pulling back a little bit on those reports. But moving on from the Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's next fight, like I said, we're going to condense all these into one video instead of making it 5 different ones. He also talked about Darren Till versus Tyron Woodley. Now, not only did he talk about the fight, but he talked about how Darren Till got the title shot. And he's saying it's kind of crazy, as a lot of us would agree, because not only did Darren Till miss weight, but it was a close fight, actually. A lot of people feel like Wonderboy beat Darren Till. I think there's a lot more people that feel like Wonderboy beat Darren Till than even people that feel like Wonderboy beat Woodley. I think, you know, for one, Woodley was the champion. In order to be the champion, you have to beat the champion, especially when you're getting a second opportunity. You got to make something happen. So those fights went the way they went. Not the most exciting. The second one for sure, Tyron Woodley got his hand raised. But Wonderboy versus Till, you actually had people like breaking down like frame by frame. I believe it was Alpaca Thesaurus, if I'm not mistaken. The YouTube channel, super dope. The goddamn Newt. That's a great YouTube channel, but he broke it down like frame by frame, every single strike. And you know what I'm saying? A lot of people had to fight for Wonderboy afterwards. And so to not only for it to be a controversial decision, but also to miss weight, people didn't really, even Darren Till didn't expect to get the title shot after that. Now, you can't blame Darren Till. Of course, if the UFC says, hey, you want to fight for the title, you expect him to say yes. Fuck yeah. For one, you're getting paid more. For two, you're getting a huge opportunity. But even Darren Till, like I said, didn't expect to get it after the fight. He was like, give another fight to Thompson. I don't care who I fight next. I'll fight Usman. I'll fight any of these dudes because I'm going to be fighting them all anyway at welterweight. If I'm the champion, I'm going to be fighting them to defend my belt. So I'm down with fighting one of them before that. Let's do it. Darren Till didn't even expect to get this title shot. And this is what Wonderboy had to say. I was very disappointed to see the news. I mean, first off, this is a title fight, right? How do you get a title shot if you couldn't even make the non-title weight in your last fight? It just seems like the UFC is rewarding the guy for being unprofessional. You signed a contract agreeing to fight on these terms at this particular weight class. You should be monitoring your weight during the entire camp and fulfilling your obligations as a professional. Till didn't do that. Then after missing weight, he's allowed to move up the ranks and receive a title shot? It's crazy. He said, to be honest with you, I think it's the UFC's fault that so many fighters are missing weight because there's really no repercussions when you do it. I mean, yeah, Darren Till had to give me a percentage of his purse, but he was able to move up the rankings, and now he's given a title shot, so he'll be making way more this time around. Title fights are where you make the big money. Now, after receiving a small slap on the wrist for missing weight in Liverpool, Darren Till has one. Great point by Wonderboy. You got to think, how much money did he have to give Wonderboy? A percentage of his purse. When he fought Wonderboy, he wasn't making big money yet. Maybe he made $50,000 and had to give Wonderboy $20,000. Well, now he's going to be fighting Tyron Woodley likely for double that, $100,000, $200,000 just because it's a title fight. So the $20,000, the $30,000, however much he had to give Wonderboy, he's making that back fucking times 3, times 4, who knows, times 5, because now he's got a title shot. So it's like, yeah, I had to give him some money, but you know what I'm saying? It's to make a lot more back. It's almost like an investment. I'll give you this money now, so whenever I beat you and make the title fight, I make all of that back. So great opportunity for Darren Till. And like I said, you can't blame him. You can't blame him for taking it. The UFC called anybody and offered him a title shot. Of course, they better fucking say yeah. For one, you get paid UFC title pay, which is going to be way more than in a non-title fight. And for two, it's a huge opportunity to potentially beat the champion. It's a lot of, man, there's a lot of reasons, of course, you expect Darren Till to say yes to the fight. Stephen Thompson also has a theory on why the UFC might be pushing Darren Till so hard, because that also could play into why he's getting a title fight. You know, not just anybody can miss weight by 4 pounds and get a title fight. Darren Till just so happens to be undefeated, 17-0, got the trash talk, even fucking bilingual, got Brazil on deck, England on deck, Americans love him. You got the fucking, well, maybe not so much after the Wonderboy fight, but either way, I mean, he speaks Portuguese, he's bilingual, like, so much potential. If Darren Till can actually beat Tyron Woodley for the title, we're looking at a potential fucking cash cow. You know what I'm saying? Like, he would be the champion, 18-0, undefeated, beat Tyron Woodley, who everybody kind of wanted to see lose anyway. He would get that under his belt. He would be fucking bilingual on top of being an undefeated UFC champion. He's got aspirations. He's a fucking big welterweight. We know he's willing to go up and fight the middleweight champion. You know he will. You just know he fucking will. So so much potential for Darren Till. And Stephen Wonderboy Thompson says here's his theory on why they might be. He said, the only thing that makes sense to me about all this is Michael Bisping was on his way out. The UFC knew that, and they really didn't have a whole lot of people to promote from the UK, so they have this loudmouth kid who's tough and literally just fell into their lap. So now they're pushing him forward. That's all I can really see. It doesn't make sense. There's really no other scenario that makes sense. None of this makes sense, to be honest. Why is this fight even happening? So Stephen Wonderboy Thompson with a little bit of a conspiracy theory there, but hey, it's a good one. I mean, Bisping did recently retire. Darren Till can be the next big star for the UK. Shout out to my boy Forward. You know he's expecting to win Booger Bash 2018, and you could imagine there's going to be a lot of those people that are championing Darren Till as that next potential champion for the UK. So yeah, that could be a very, you know, that like Conor McGregor, all the Irish fans, Khabib, the Russian fans. We've heard that rhetoric a lot in these last couple of years. Oh, the way that, you know, he's got this country behind him, the way that his fans support him, that's why he gets this opportunity. And that had a lot to do with Conor McGregor in the beginning, the way the Irish fans would fly out and support him and buy his pay-per-views. Everybody did. I mean, Conor McGregor, everyone around the world knows him and loves him now. Well, some people don't love him per se, but everyone at least knows who he is. But before his Irish, the support he had from Ireland and the people that supported him, it's a big reason for how he got a lot of these opportunities. And you can imagine that's the case now with Darren Till, as Wonderboy said. Bisping's out, Till is in, and now lo and behold, he's getting a lot of opportunities that don't make sense. He continued to say, I remember Darren Till bragging in the lead up to our fight that he couldn't believe the UFC was letting him cut to 170 because he's such a big guy and whatnot, that he didn't even make weight for the fight. He wasn't even close. I mean, why brag about that? You're such a big, tough dude, then why aren't you fighting at your natural weight class? Let's just hope he makes weight on September the 8th. Yeah, man, that's another good point. And especially with the day and age we're in, the UFC recommending fighters to go up weight classes, right? They don't want Donald Cerrone to go to 155 anymore. They're making him stay. Kelvin Gastelum, he missed weight once or twice or maybe 3 times. Now they're making him fight at middleweight, even though he wanted. Now he's getting a title shot, so you know it's a good for Kelvin Gastelum to be here now that he made it through this. But even after his Weidman loss, multiple times. He said, yeah, I would like to go back to 170 sometime, but I gotta, you know, prove to the UFC I can and all of this, yada yada. So the UFC, they've got guys that, you know, it's like they're protecting them from themselves. They don't, whether they can't make the weight or whether it's not healthy, they'll recommend you go up. We're even talking about, shoot, the UFC was even talking about fucking going back to the late weigh-ins and getting rid of the early weigh-ins because fighters were missing weight and stuff. And so it's like, well, if we're worried about fighters missing weight that much, why are we rewarding guys that miss weight? How can you on one hand say we got to do something about these weight cutting issues? I mean, you know, and then on the other hand, Yoel Romero, Darren Till both get title shots after missing weight. Like, how can you? It's really working backwards. So it is what it is on that. But yeah, man, Stephen Thompson saying maybe it's the fact that Bisping's out, Darren Till's in, he's got the UK behind him, and so that's what it is. Because, you know, I don't see a lot of other people actually getting that opportunity after missing weight. And Chael Sonnen brought up an exact example. I believe it was John Lineker. He was going to be fighting for the title multiple times. He had multiple opportunities where he was beating tough guys, and the UFC were like, oh, but you missed weight. All right, if you make weight next fight, we'll get you a title shot. Oh, damn, you missed weight. Well, damn, we can't give you a title shot if you missed weight. Well, if you make weight next fight, we'll get you a title shot. And he kept not getting a title shot because he missed weight. Now in 2018, motherfuckers keep getting title shots off of missing weight. It's the opposite. So that might have something to do with why these guys keep missing weight, because you're not punishing them. And it's crazy because the little bit of a punishment you do have, the money, that's the only punishment there is. That's literally the only one right now. You lose a percentage of your purse. But now it's literally you're making money to miss weight. Because normally you just give up like 20 or 30% of your purse. You still do that, but when you get the title shot afterward, you're making fucking that back times 5 or however much money. You're making all of that money back that you gave away by missing weight. So you literally are making money to miss weight if you're a top contender some of these times. So hey, it's literally worth it. It's worth it. It's beneficial. It's crazy. So with that being said, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, of course, also going to break down the Woodley versus Darren Till fight. Would love to hear what he had to say about this. Of course, he's fought close fights with the champion Tyron Woodley and also the challenger Darren Till. He said Darren Till is a big body, like I said, so he's very heavy and he's aggressive. Tyron, he doesn't do well against those aggressive guys, especially who are just kind of in their face. And Darren's very long, and it's for fear of Tyron gassing out maybe. I guess that's why he doesn't do well against those aggressive guys. So Darren Till definitely has the body, the mass to really push Tyron and tire him out. But on the other hand, Tyron Woodley's a very intelligent guy. He's a very cerebral guy when it comes to breaking down fighters. So he's not going to be stupid. Darren Till, he gives up his hips. Every time you throw a punch, he leans way back and his hips are there. I think Tyron's got to use that right hand, and if he doesn't knock him out with it, he's got to set it up to take him down. And he's got the power to be able to hold Darren down, even though Darren Till is showing photos on his Instagram, because people were posting up that he's got some of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the world helping him out. But this is close to fight time, and it's not going to make a difference. So that's him breaking the fight down, not really giving his prediction, but breaking it down. I would love to know who he actually gives the edge to. He gives good cases for both guys. Darren Till's aggression could be a bad matchup for Woodley. We have seen Woodley knocked out in the past against Jake Ellenberger. He lost the fight to Roy McDonald. And people bring up that knockout against Jake Ellenberger with Woodley. God damn, was that brutal. I was watching like a Joe Rogan podcast at work, or listening to it on break or something, where I pulled up the video on my phone or something, and they were playing the video of it. And I had seen it in the past, but man, if you haven't saw the Woodley versus fucking the Woodley versus Marquardt, not Jake Ellenberger, Nate Marquardt. If you haven't saw the fucking knockout of Nate Marquardt when he knocked out Woodley in Strikeforce, god damn was that brutal. And that's one of the things people bring up. But I'll say this about that fight. There definitely wasn't no motherfucking USADA. You know what I'm saying? My boy Nate Marquardt was jacked looking in that fight. I'm not going to lie. It definitely doesn't look like that today. So, who knows, though? You know what I'm saying? No aspersions on Nate Marquardt. I'm just saying, do you think he'd beat Tyron Woodley today? It was just a different time. You know, it was just a different time, different organization. No USADA, so no telling what was going on. But Nate Marquardt was a motherfucking beast in that fight. I will say that. Got the job done, but hey, this is 2018. This is way after that. This is Tyron Woodley now, UFC years later, hasn't lost to anybody but Rory McDonald in like the last fucking 5 years. Knocked out Robbie Lawler in vicious fashion in the first round. Got him out of there, became the champ. Fought a very tough fight against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson twice. Almost got him out of there in the first fight. Fight of the night at Madison Square Garden. Fucking biggest fight in UFC history. Biggest fight card. McGregor versus Alvarez. Champ night. Woodley versus Wonderboy was fight of the night on that night. That's very impressive. Then he fought a close fight with Wonderboy again. Maybe laid the blueprint out for Darren Till to even, you know, beat him. Maybe if they honestly, I really don't. If Darren Till didn't see Woodley beat Wonderboy, Darren Till probably loses to Wonderboy. He went in there and fought smart and still almost lost. If he was just in there brash, we know Darren Till's brashy, ready to bang, likes to stand and bang. But if he didn't see the blueprint of you got to be smart to beat Wonderboy, kind of like we saw with Tyron Woodley, if we didn't see those recently, Darren Till might have went in there a little more aggressive and lost that fucking fight to Wonderboy. And so Woodley laid out the blueprint in those two Wonderboy fights for even guys like Darren Till to have that success against Wonderboy. And then he fought Damian Maia in a fight. He tore his labrum in his shoulder, and he fucking still defended like 23. All 23 of 23 takedowns or something crazy like that. Fucking Damian Maia got 0 takedowns in that fight, and Tyron Woodley creamed him in the first round, you know, swole his eye up in the first round, cracked his shit. So, I mean, put some respect on the champ's name. A lot of people don't like him, whether you say he had a couple boring fights, whether you say it's because he's a drama queen, complains. He's changed a lot of that shit up, man. He's not doing no complaining. He's getting the fucking work. When's the last time you heard Woodley say something about a money fight? We're even talking about, or not even a money fight, a legacy fight. He's just like, you know what? Line them up, knock them down. Coordinate y'all's ass whoopings. Oh, is Colby next? Fuck it, Colby's next. Is Usman after that? Oh, fuck it, Usman's after that. He ain't saying shit about GSP, McGregor, or none of these guys because, you know that doesn't work out. So, with that being said, it's going to be a great fight. Can't wait, man. Darren Till potentially has the tools to beat Woodley, but Woodley is the proven champion. And so, to count him out, I think would kind of be crazy. But hey, do it if you want. Either way, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson had a lot to say in an interview with BJ Penn. If you want to listen to that full audio in that full interview, go check out bjpenradio.com. You can probably find that. But other than that, yeah, man, it is what it is. Shout out to Aaron Burrell again. He donated $100 and right before I went to work yesterday. It was kind of crazy. I didn't expect it. Or the day before, like I was going into work, I looked at the phone like, what the fuck? Thank you very much. That was actually the first Cash App I ever got. So thank you very much to Aaron B. You, sir, are a God amongst men. You've been holding me down since day one hitter on deck, since we were shut down after shut down, through the shadow ban, through the GoFundMe flags. You, sir, thank you very much for everything. Who knows? We literally might not be here if it wasn't for you. So thank you, man. You definitely help keep this channel going. And thank you to everybody listening to this video at this time. We got more to come up. And just a quick shout out to another YouTube channel right now, another independent channel. Man, Coach Shelton Harrison is a motherfucking grinder, dog. He is too. You guys, a lot of you guys think I'm the hardest working YouTuber. I mean, who knows? As far as MMA is concerned, that might be the case. But Coach, he's also hustling over there, growing his channel, man. And he even has an interview coming up with Chris Cyborg today. So for an independent channel, that's also very inspiring, motivating to see him. He's been a big Cyborg fan for a long time. And now he's actually getting to interview UFC current champion Chris Cyborg. That's going to be going down today at 6:40 Eastern. So I just wanted to plug that for the coach one time because he's helped support our channel, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to help support his. And we got to do that, especially through whatever's going on YouTube right now, you know, with these independent channels and these shadow bans and all this weird shit going on, man. So shout out to him and anybody else. So let the Full-Time family know what you think in the comments. And make sure you check out Coach's interview later on with the current UFC featherweight champion, Chris Cyborg. It's going to be a good one. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking DOG.